Welcome back to the GoEngineer YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll walk through some CATIA V5 tips and tricks to improve design efficiency. Before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, let's dive into CATIA. Starting out, CATIA's user interface is where a lot of inefficiencies come into play, especially coming from other softwares. CATIA has some interesting characteristics, and we'll dive into these to become more comfortable with the interface. In this webinar, there will be many instances of setting explanations and modification, so be aware that Tools Options will be a consistent location for changing these settings. Looking at the CATIA user interface, one item that is difficult for new users is the specification tree. The specification tree has a few quirks, including hiding, tree customization, and expanding and collapsing, which are typically struggles for new CATIA users. Sometimes new users hide the specification tree and have no idea how to get it back. CATIA has a keyboard shortcut, also called a hotkey, to hide or show the specification tree. When users accidentally hit F3, the specification tree disappears and is no longer visible, even in hidden space. To bring the tree back, users must hit F3 again, or go to the View menu and click on Specifications. There are benefits to hiding the tree. If you're adding a picture for a presentation or doing a design review, getting the tree out of the design space can be useful. The specification tree also has a mode in which the tree itself can be modified, called Tree Customization. By clicking either the lower right corner axis or a branch on the tree, the model will darken and typical mouse movements will result in tree modification. To exit Tree Customization, the only options are clicking the lower right corner axis or clicking the branches of the tree itself, returning to geometry modification. Ideally, users can start CATIA and use Tree Customization to size the tree to their preference. Then head to Tools, Options, General, Display, Tree Manipulation, and ensure that Tree Zoom after clicking on any branch is turned off. This will prevent tree misclicks from entering Tree Customization and only allow customization through the lower right corner axis, which is more directed. Parameters can be added into the tree for easy viewing and modification by going to Tools, Options, General, Parameters and Measures, and in the Knowledge tab, turning on the Parameter Tree View options with Value and with Formula. These will provide easy access to parameter-driven items for easy model adjustment. More items for display in the specification tree can be found in Tools, Options, Part Infrastructure, Display tab, and under Display in the specification tree, you can turn on any number of these to show up in the tree. Personally, I have all of these active, so when anything is created, I can find it in the tree. At minimum, I would activate External References, Parameters, Relations, Bodies under Operations, and Expand Sketch-based feature nodes at creation. These parameters can also be added at the assembly level. Go to Tools, Options, Product Structure, Tree Customization, and make sure that parameters and relations are active in the specification tree order list. Expanding and collapsing the specification tree is also useful when working with large trees. Utilizing the View menu, click Tree Expansion, and click Expand All Levels for the tree to completely expand. Follow this same path and select Collapse All to collapse the tree. Notice that there are hotkey callouts of Ctrl-E and Ctrl-D on my Collapse and Expand All items that can also be utilized. CATIA will notify you of the associated hotkey, showing it on the command in menu items, or within parentheses next to the command name if you hover over it in the toolbars. If you don't have the hotkeys set and would like to add them, you can add hotkeys going through the following process. Otherwise, this will be the same process for all hotkeys, so you can add other commands in the future. Users can set hotkeys by going into Tools, Customize Commands, selecting All Commands, and then finding the command you want to add a hotkey to. After selecting the command, click the Show Properties button and expand to view the command properties. In the accelerator menu, input the hotkey you would like to activate the command. If the accelerator is already taken, you can either remove the accelerator from the command currently utilizing it, or try a different accelerator until a free option is available. If a command accelerator is grayed out, you can add the command to a toolbar, and then the accelerator will become available for you to utilize. The next user interface item is CATIA's hidden space. This is similar to a layer, but allows users to simplify a model by moving items into hidden space. This space can be accessed using the Swap Visible Space command located in the View menu, the View toolbar, or by establishing a hotkey. This space is useful to clean up models, but still have access to them and reuse them as necessary. Items can be added to the hidden space using the Hide Show command, located in the View toolbar, the View menu bar, the contextual menu, or a hotkey as well. Finding and selecting elements can sometimes be difficult, especially for stacked geometry. One trick CATIA has is the preselection window, which will help select the correct overlapping geometry. Hover the cursor over the geometry you would like to select, and then select the left or right arrow key on the keyboard. This will bring up the Preselection Navigator, allowing you to choose what specifically you are looking to select. This can also be activated by selecting the Alt button while clicking on the geometry. While the Preselection Navigator is useful, some users find the reference element size to be too small. You can resize your axes and planes so they are larger and more easily selected by going to Tools, Options, Infrastructure, Part Infrastructure, and under Display, modify the axis system display size to increase or decrease plane and axis size. Another setting that will help users is disabling hybrid design. This will force reference geometry underneath a geometrical set instead of placing the reference data as ordered underneath the part body. Go to Tools, Options, Infrastructure, Part Infrastructure, and under Part Document, uncheck the Enable Hybrid Design mode. An additional useful setting is increasing the number of undo levels. This will use more CPU memory, however will be useful when designing allowing more flexibility in your model. Navigate to Tools, Options, General, PCS, and change the stack size to 50. Also, the undo shortcut is similar to other programs and uses Ctrl-Z as the hotkey. To reduce some of that CPU memory usage, users can turn off the background graduated color if they prefer, in Tools, Options, General, Display, and under Visualization, turn off graduated color background. Additionally, while here, adding the scale to your display will help you evaluate the size of parts in real time. If you are curious about part size, you can zoom in until the zoom is at or close to 1, indicating current image will match actual part size. Go to Tools, Options, General, Display, Visualization, and change the Display Current Scale in Parallel mode on. CATIA has a couple display modes, and utilizing each comes down to user preference. The two modes are Parallel and Perspective. Parallel represents data with constant scaling, regardless of model depth. Perspective applies depth, and this affects represented width and height scaling. Perspective view also changes how models zoom, moving the camera instead of the field of view, allowing you the ability to move between objects. This is helpful in large assemblies when you need to see how parts fit together. Simply switch modes and move between objects you would otherwise only see in section views. To keep links with objects that have been utilized, make sure to go to Tools, Options, Infrastructure, Part Infrastructure, and in the General tab, activate Keep Link with Selected Object, show newly created external references, confirm when creating a link with selected objects, use root context in assembly, and allow publication of faces, edges, vertices, and axes extremities. This will allow utilizing part elements within your own part or pulling data in from other parts as reference to maintain proper links for updates. An additional update setting for assemblies is to change the updates to manual. Assembly settings can cause problems with the model during constraint if settings are set to automatic. Go to Tools, Options, Mechanical Design, Assembly Design, General, and ensure the update is set to manual. The window menu option is how CATIA users can switch between parts, products, and drawings. Within this menu, there is Tile horizontally, vertically, and Cascade, which positions the active windows in different positions. This is useful when switching between parts or getting information from one and going to the other. To quickly switch between windows, you can use the Control-Tab hotkey and flip between your open windows. CATIA toolbars are different than other software and have a couple quirks. Toolbars provide quick access to common features, and CATIA has both common and workbench-specific toolbars. Toolbars for your needs may or may not be active. To check toolbar status, go under the View menu and under Toolbars, look for the toolbars with the checkmark next to them. These are the active toolbars, and if you need to add one, you can click here to add it. Toolbars can also be activated by right-clicking in CATIA's gray perimeter to showcase the contextual active toolbar menu. Toolbars can dock with items that are outside of the display, indicated by a double caret symbol on the toolbar. If this double caret symbol is in your interface, you have features or entire toolbars that are not currently visible. To resolve this, you must move the toolbar to your preferred location for all feature visibility. Do this by clicking and dragging the toolbar's embossed rectangle to a location where you can see all the features, and continue this process until you no longer have the double caret symbol present. CATIA's users can place toolbars in the display area, dock them on the side, or add multiple layers within the gray perimeter to access all the toolbar features. To know the next input within a command, the best place to check is the status bar, which will prompt input items for actions. The status bar shows what input or selection is needed to proceed. Looking at a quick example, if I want to insert a new part into a product, I select the Insert Existing Component icon, and nothing happens. However, looking at the status bar, it shows to select a component into which the existing component will be inserted. This lets me know I need to select the product to place the component, so I'll select the product and the File Explorer pops up. I'll cancel this, select the Loaded Document option from the second dialog box, and input the Open Part file. Moving into CATIA use tips and tricks, we'll start with repeating commands. Simply selecting a CATIA feature will prompt the command to run until all the required information is input. Then the command will end. However, if you double-click on the feature, the command will repeat after initial information is input and will continue until you end the command with the escape key. The Graphics Properties toolbar can be useful for changing the colors in your model and making them easier to see. A couple tips for using CATIA colors. The first is to avoid using CATIA indicator colors such as orange and red. Orange represents a selection, and when geometry is made the same orange, geometry can appear selected when it isn't. Similarly, red indicates a warning that a part is not updated. This can be confusing and make you think your model has an error or prevent you from noticing an error exists. A shortcut when creating dimensions or parameter inputs is to have CATIA do the math for you, especially when working with many different unit types. You can add different units after numeric values, and CATIA will perform calculations and automatically adjust the units to match the model. If you need to create a presentation from your model, one item that is useful is the Capture tool, which can change image settings and even modify the CATIA background for the image only to have a white background. Within the Sketcher workbench, to generate part constraints efficiently, utilize the contextual menu for sketch constraints. Double-click the constraint command to repeat it. When a geometric constraint needs to be applied, right-click utilizing the contextual menu to apply the needed constraint. Then you could add all the constraints within one command and don't need to worry about clicking the constraints defined in dialog box over and over. If you're creating a profile and automatic constraints keep snapping to items making it difficult to sketch, you can suppress automatic constraints quickly by holding the Shift key when creating the profile. Another item to quickly select sketch profiles is to use the auto search function on the sketch profile. Instead of multi-selecting each profile item using Control, right-click on the profile and select auto search to quickly select the entire profile. When constraining sketches, the ideal scenario is to get your sketch to an ISO-constrained state. This will reduce the likelihood of update errors during parametric updates. You can check this a few ways. The first is, after applying constraints, your sketch geometry and the sketch icon turn bright green. The next way is to utilize the sketch status and sketch analysis tools, which provide current sketch status, details, and resolutions to get your sketch to an ISO-constrained state. Sketch analysis is extremely useful, and learning how to modify geometry within this tool will help make models easily adjustable. On the ISO-constrained note, there is another feature within the Tools menu called Parameterization Analysis that brings up a dialog box diving deep and filtering within your part. Here you can see all part sketches, filter to determine which are not fully constrained, and even delete unused geometry by filtering to root features and seeing what items are not useful in the part, reducing file size. Utilizing the measurement tools within Part Designer GSD, the first trick is to create geometry based off a measurement. By using the Create Geometry feature, CATIA users can efficiently transform measurement data into usable geometric elements, facilitating further design, analysis, or reverse engineering tasks. Another measurement item that is useful is to add the measurement of a spline as a parameter, instead of keeping the spline measurement. With parameters turned on in the tree, add a new parameter and create a formula. Type length with parentheses, and placing your cursor between the parentheses, double-click the spline. After accepting Update Settings, you'll see spline length defined as a parameter, which will update with the spline itself. To determine how a part was made, you can use the Scan tool under the Edit menu to walk through a part body step by step. Another option is to define in-work object on different features within a part body. This option works similar to the rollback feature in SOLIDWORKS, and if new data is needed, it will be placed below the defined in-work object in the tree. A visualization setting that is extremely helpful is the Customize View Parameters. If you are doing a design review and need to quickly hide reference geometry such as points, lines, and planes, one option is to go into the Tools menu and hide all these items. The issue is, it is several steps, and once the design review is over, then you must go back into hidden space and show all the items you need. By going into Customize View Parameters, you can have CATIA filter those items out by selecting to show no wires, no axes, and no points. Then when the review is over, simply flip back to a standard visualization, and the points, lines, and planes you needed are right back where you had them. The thickness command can quickly add or remove material from a surface, allowing you to manipulate the data with just one click instead of having to create a sketch. The Remove Face command will help simplify your part, removing unnecessary lines from surface creation. This can also be done using the Surface Simplification command in GSD. Within the GSD transformation toolbar, one item that is helpful is the Hide Show Initial Element icon within the dialog box. If you move an item and then need the original item to be hidden, you can do it all within the same dialog box instead of performing the extra Hide Show step afterward. In assembly design, one underutilized tool is the Smart Move command. Typically, when applying constraints, users must apply the constraint and then update the part to reflect movement if it's required. With the Smart Move command, users can snap and apply constraints within one command, making the visualization simple and not needing to perform an update for the part to move. Looks like we're running short on time. The last tip is when you need to load huge assembly products, turn off the Load Reference Documents option. Go to Tools, Options, General, and turn off the Load Reference Documents. This will just open the assembly without the visualization of the parts, and if you only need certain parts to appear, you can just load the specific items you need. This opens CATIA products more quickly, and allows users to load only necessary assembly items. Then when you need a specific part, you can open it with the Load option in the contextual menu. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please sign up for our email newsletters so you can stay up to date. GoEngineer will only send an email once a month on upcoming webinars and events. To find out more about our professional training, including SOLIDWORKS and CATIA, check out our website and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have tons of videos on tips and tricks.